From News Channel 9, your local election headquarters. This is a debate in the race for state senate in Central New York's 50th District. Democrat John Mannion and Republican Angi Renna. Here now is your moderator, News Channel 9's Dan Cummings.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to our debate in the 50th state senate race, a contest to fill a vacant seat. It's been vacant all year. The district was last represented briefly for about 1 year by Republican Bob Antonacci, who left the Senate for a judicial appointment. Republicans have actually held this seat for more than half a century, the most recent 25 years by John DeFrancisco. The 50th has a small part of the city of Syracuse on the north side, but about half of Onondaga County overall, the suburbs that ring the city, a little piece of Cayuga County, including the city of Auburn. That's the 50th. Well, we'll have the candidates today answer each of my questions in 60 seconds, and then we'll afford time for rebuttal if needed. And with the draw just a short time ago, our first question goes to John Mannion. Welcome to both of you, and it's good to have you here. John, earlier this year, you told another interviewer that your daughter was diagnosed with Lyme disease, Lyme meningitis, and you said that she's better now, and I trust and I hope that's still true. But she had the best of medical care, you said, and it was paid for with good health insurance from your employer. Not everyone has good employer-sponsored health insurance, though, so we're making health care our first question in this pandemic year. Would you, if elected, support the New York Health Act, essentially government-backed health care, health insurance for all, not necessarily tied to employer?
Right. Thank you for the question. I just want to say I appreciate you having me here. I grew up on Tipperary Hill. I was born there and raised there. I live in the town of Geddes, and my 3 children have been a pleasure. 2 of them attend Lemoyne. So one of those children, my daughter, was diagnosed with Lyme meningitis, and we went to Golisano Hospital, which is just a fantastic facility, and thankfully she is doing better. When we were there, we were sent home with oral antibiotics. We went home and we hoped that her condition would improve, and it didn't. We went back the next day and we spent 5 days in that facility. My daughter stayed overnight. She had a spinal tap, she had fluid on her brain, she had vision loss and double vision. As I sat waiting, there were other families there during that spinal tap, and I thought to myself, I never gave one thought to whether or not I would be able to pay for this because I knew I had excellent coverage. I thought of those families, and I didn't know if they had, but I know this: everybody should be afforded the luxury of knowing that when somebody is sick, they can have care and they shouldn't have to worry about going bankrupt over it.
Would that mean you'd support the New York Health Act?
I support making sure that there is affordable, quality health care for everybody and accessibility for it. And therefore, you know, we're in a very dynamic time. When I get to the legislature, I'm going to advocate to make sure that that happens, whether it's passing that act or in another manner.
Angi Renna, what about your position on the New York Health Act, a government-backed health insurance, not government health care, but health insurance for all New Yorkers?
Well, thank you, Dan, for having me tonight. It's a pleasure to be here. And I'm sorry to hear of the diagnosis of your daughter, so I hope that she's doing well, John. In 2018, you were very supportive of the New York Health Act, and I would say that I do not support it. And the reasons why I don't support it is because it will double our budget, it will increase our taxes, and it takes away our private choice and our private individualized health care. It would be like going to the motor vehicle office to get our health insurance. And I don't think that that's what John would want for his daughter. I certainly wouldn't want that for my family, and many people wouldn't want to give up their personal choice for health insurance.
Let's go around on this again, John.
Sure.
Yeah. You support the act.
So, as I've gone door to door in the past and spoken on the phone, I hear the same thing from every community, and that is that our current system of healthcare is broken and it has to be adjusted. People's deductibles keep getting higher, their premiums keep getting higher, and their cost of coverage keeps getting lower. And therefore, what I support is actions that are going to make sure that everybody has affordable coverage. So we're living, like I said, in a dynamic time, a dynamic budgetary time. And therefore, I know this: we have to address the problem. We have to address, and as I said before, there's a multitude of ways where we could do that.
Ms. Renna, one more chance for you on this.
Absolutely, Dan. And I sell health insurance for a living. That's one of the things that I do as a small business owner in my financial planning practice is take care of people and their health insurance needs. So I understand what the challenges are. Some of those challenges are a direct result of the Affordable Care Act and how it's affected our health insurance premiums. And there's a lot that we can do to remedy that. First and foremost, helping people with HSAs, expanding the telemedicine opportunity that's available are just certain ways that we can help people. And then of course, looking at a high deductible health care tax credit to offset the cost of the increasing health insurance premiums. We do need to make it affordable. I definitely agree with that, but there's better ways than passing a government-run health insurance plan.
Next question goes to you first, Ms. Renna. COVID-19, as we all know, has put state and local governments in deep deficit. And it's no federal stimulus yet for the locals. It's left a lot of central New Yorkers in deep debt in their family budget. Jobs and job opportunities have disappeared. Child care, if it can be found, is expensive. You've proposed a fairly aggressive program of more tax credits for dependent care, reimbursing providers of child care for their added pandemic expenses. How do we pay for that?
Well, when we can get people back to work and we can stimulate the economy because they're working, then we receive revenues from other sources other than having to increase taxes. So it's a simple plan that works. We know it works. It's worked in the past and it will continue to work. But our, COVID-19 did do quite a lot of damage to people. It hurt our small businesses, it's hurt our families, and the only way out of this hole is to get people back to work, and that's what's going to help our economy.
Mr. Mannion, your position on that, tax credits, additional tax credits and additional reimbursements for child care providers to cover their costs.
So we're clearly in a child care crisis. We're seeing that, and the pandemic has only highlighted it. So I'm open to looking at different ways that we can make sure that people have the child care that they need, so if they choose to go to work, that they do.
Well, this brings me to the next question, which may take a little bit, because we have to pay for this somehow. Ms. Renna said it would be paid for by more people getting back to work. You wouldn't have to raise taxes to do it. State's still in a deep, deep hole. This question starts with you, Mr. Mannion. The Democratic Party, at least many in it, have proposed, and I think you agree with, a tax on the super wealthy, as we call them, those at the highest end of the income. Do you support that? And how strongly do you support it? Is that the way to get the state the revenue it needs, taxing the so-called super rich?
So I know this. I'm proud to live in Central New York, proud to live in Onondaga County in New York State, because I believe we've handled the COVID-19 pandemic in a very smart way, and we've applied science to it. We are sitting in a situation that we have to recover from. And there has been a lot of federal stimulus dollars that have bypassed us. And unfortunately for the residents of Onondaga County, we barely fall beneath that criteria of 500,000. So we have to continue to aggressively advocate for our fair share, which was promised to us. That being said, I do think we have to look at both sides of the budget. I believe there's areas where there might be waste or there could be duplication of services, so we have to look at that. But additionally, along with some other potential revenue streams, I know this: we cannot balance the budget on the backs of our healthcare facilities, of our middle-class workers, of our property owners, and of our students in the classroom. We're not going to pack classrooms with 32 students. And therefore, I think we have to at least give some consideration to taxing the 1% of the 1%. We're in a crisis, and everybody should pay just a little bit more to get us in a better position.
Some consideration, or would you put that extra marginal tax on the top 1%?
Of the 1% of the 1%, yeah. I would.
You would increase that tax. Ms. Renna.
It wouldn't work. It just plain and simple wouldn't work. And we already have a mass exodus out of New York State by those individuals. If you're wealthy, you are mobile and you can leave the state very easily, and you can take your companies and your jobs along with it. We know we need to create jobs. We need to have a better business climate here in New York State and a better tax climate. New York State is a race to the bottom with regard to the tax situation, we are the #1 taxed state in the nation. So taxing more is not the answer. That's not how we're going to have economic opportunities for our families, for our children who graduate. We want them to stay here. We need to create jobs, and we need to create good jobs, but you have to attract businesses to come here, and by attaching more taxation to people whom you think are the wealthiest, the 1% of the 1%, who were probably those that were in attendance to your $5,000 fundraiser down in New York City, is not the way that we're going to do it.
We can go back on this, John Mannion. Do you have more to say about this? Oh, if not, we can move on, because this next question goes to the same thing, and it starts with you, Ms. Renna. So he would tax the wealthy, a little, that top 1%. You would not, for reasons you've stated. Revenue has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Where would we cut spending? Right now, you're looking at the state budget, and you would help determine the state budget if you get elected, especially in the absence of any significant federal stimulus to help the state government out. Where do you cut state spending to make the budget somewhat balanced?
Right, yeah, so this is where I'm uniquely qualified for this position as a small business owner, as someone who helps others with their financial planning. We're going to get into the crux of the budget. It's interesting because with the Medicaid situation, Medicaid is one of the top items in the budget. Our comptroller does a great job of auditing that. He's recovered close to $2 billion in his last audits of improper payments. We need to make sure that we have proper oversight of where we're spending first and foremost, to make sure that the money going out is actually supposed to be going out and not in misappropriated, misspent dollars. And then, you know, when you pass a budget with a $100 million taxpayer-funded campaign finance fund, that's just frivolous spending. That's not really what we need right now. We need that money for PPE. So we need to really be looking right down to item by item what we're spending money on and making sure that it has an impact to the taxpayer.
Mr. Mannion, where would you cut?
Some of the items that my opponent addressed are just very minuscule numbers that won't come anywhere near the number of $14 billion of budget deficit that we're in. And therefore, we are not going to put this on the backs of regular New Yorkers who do the work, who pay the taxes already, the middle class. And that's what's going to happen. In fact, it's already happening. We already in this county have looked to an increase in energy taxes. We're talking about paying more for recycling. And this is what we're up against. Therefore, it's only reasonable to look at those who have had very favorable tax codes change for them over the course of 2 generations, so that during this pandemic and during the last 50 years, they have benefited tremendously. So there's greater disparity between the regular working class and the CEOs. In 1973, the average CEO made 37 times more than the average worker, and we were outraged. Now that number is over 400 times more. So the 1% of the 1% can do their part for the hardworking New Yorkers.
Thank you. That's where you get you do it with revenue. This next question goes to you, Mr. Mannion. One-party rule in Albany is likely to continue unless there's some cataclysmic change in November. Democrats right now hold 40 of the 63 seats in the Senate, and they only need to pick up 2 more to have a super majority, a veto-proof super majority. Is this good for New York State and its taxpayers to have one-party rule in both houses of the legislature and in the governor's bench?
I know what is good for the citizens of the 50th Senate District, and that is to make sure that their representative is in the Senate majority. As you said, the dynamic is such that currently we have 40 Democrats in the Senate, 20 Republicans, 3 vacant seats. We are in one of those vacant seats, which means for the past year, when decisions were being made in that majority conference, there wasn't even anyone in the minority conference. There was no one there to bring our voices and our values into legislation. And now, as we approach, as we get further into this crisis, there's going to be decisions being made about legislation and budgetary decisions. So we absolutely have to make sure that we have someone in the room when those decisions are being made, so our priorities can be put to the forefront and that we bring back our fair share to Central New York. And I'm the person who can do that.
Ms. Renna, same question. 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 Ms. Renna, same question.
Yeah, so look, you had a senator in the neighboring district, Senator May, that was in the majority, and she brought in less funding for education than in the past when we had the Republican majority. Central New York does better with the GOP in the majority. At this point, we're looking for balance. The last 2 years, we've had terrible policies passed because there was an imbalance in state government. We need to bring balance back so that everybody has a voice. And that's what I intend to do as the next senator, is reclaim the voice for Central New York by fighting for what's right for us here and not being a pawn to New York City values, which is what will be expected of Mr. Mannion, and it's what's expected of Senator May, to fall in line and vote along their party lines.
I start this next question with you, Ms. Renna. Governor Cuomo has by and large managed the pandemic by executive order when it comes to this situation. Are you concerned generally about the loss of legislative oversight? Do you think the legislature has been marginalized? And do we in fact need to rebalance the power between the governor and the legislature as a whole?
Absolutely, and this is one of the issues that we have with not being in balance in government. The legislature turned over the keys to the governor and gave him full authority on the budget to do whatever he wanted to do, and now we're seeing cuts across the board and the decision making all down to one man and one man alone. Twice the Republicans have asked to go back to work and reclaim that control back from the governor, and it has not been able to go to the floor and get voted on by the majority. Why don't they want to take that back? Why don't they want to go back to work?
Mr. Mannion.
The reason is because we are in the midst of an emergency. We're in the midst of a pandemic, and we need swift, decisive action when situations present themselves. We have that currently at the federal level, and we also have it at the state level. I promise that when I get to Albany, I will make sure that I hold the governor accountable, that we keep him in check. I will keep my eye on that situation. And let's be clear, we're in an emergency, and the legislature, with bipartisan support, passed over those executive powers.
That's not true. They did, with bipartisan support, to give him the executive power that he needed for the health crisis, not for the budget. The powers that they gave him for the budget was not on a bipartisan approach. That was all the Democrats giving him that power, and none of the Republicans.
Mr. Mannion?
We are in the midst of a pandemic, and like what we've seen when it comes to situations in the federal government, when it comes to impeachment proceedings, that's what we've seen. That's the kind of thing that we need to get away from. We need to get away from situations where it's just one party falling in line. And I promise to make sure that that doesn't happen, as I just stated.
I absolutely agree, which is why we need to bring balance back to the government.
Next question goes first to Mr. Mannion. Big money has once again flowed into this 50th State Senate District race. Not the $3 million from 2 years ago, but more than $700,000 at last report. Lots of teacher union money and other organized labor donations have gone to your campaign. Law enforcement and real estate, I'll get to Ms. Renna in a moment, have helped fund her campaign. Question goes to you first. If you're elected, how do you maintain your independence when all of these moneyed interests will be calling on you to collect on their investment?
I have lived in the 50th Senate District my entire life. I was born on Tipperary Hill. I attended schools on the west side. I went to Bishop Ludden. My wife went to Bishop Grimes. Our kids go to Lemoyne, and I have one son at West Hill. I represent the citizens of the 50th Senate District. I know what has gone well for us and what has been a problem. We have tremendous natural resources here. We have tremendous institutions, and we are on an upswing here. We have to get through this pandemic. I represent the people of the 50th Senate District. I've been an educator, teaching at the college level, biology and chemistry, so I understand when it comes to ecosystems and organisms, things at the molecular and cellular level, and I believe that's important. Along with that, I understand public education, and the education of our youth is paramount to our area's success. So I will always be a strong advocate for public education, but the citizens of the 50th Senate District come first.
Ms. Renna, same question, because if you win, those people that help put you in office are going to come calling for votes.
Well, listen, first and foremost, understand that I have a lot of skin in this game of my own. So I've contributed to my campaign. I'm trying to manage a business while I do this, so there's revenue disparities there while I'm taking time to run this campaign. My campaign contributions are grassroots efforts. There are people from the central New York area that are contributing mostly, and as you know, there was a report not too long ago how Mr. Mannion outraised me, I believe 3-1. If he thinks that he is not going to be called to fall in line with the voting of his contributors, then it's a naive thought process and one that should not be fallen on a senator. I am going to represent our Central New Yorkers, those that contributed to my campaign, those that I care about. The reason why I'm running is so that we can all support one another. I don't plan on being a career politician. I'm not sure what Mr. Mannion's efforts are here, but I know that I'm going to work in Albany and then get back to work myself.
Mr. Mannion, would you like to respond to that?
Upwards of $3.8 million. Ronald Lauder, New York City billionaire, has put money against me. So that is the Manhattan class coming at a native Central New Yorker who teaches in a classroom. So I think we know where the big money is pushing.
Well, Ms. Renna, a piece of Mr. Lauder's money has gone to your campaign. Some of it's gone into heavier amounts into other races downstate. But do you have a response to that?
Of course. Unsolicited, I don't know who Mr. Lauder is. I have no control over where he puts his money or how he uses his money, unlike NYSET, who's backed Mr. Mannion in the last election and has backed him in this election. And as you know, he's a union president for his school district. So please don't tell me and don't insult me when you are trying to say that you're not going to fall in line with what they want you to do.
I will not. I will say this about teachers right now. They have spun on a dime, and they are doing everything they can to provide an enriched education for the children of this area and across the country. I applaud them. I'm honored to represent them, and I see every day the good that occurs in public education. That's what makes me an advocate, and my supporters understand that.
If, though, you get there, Senator, if you're a Senator Mannion and not candidate Mannion, and you disagree with a piece of legislation that NYSET wants passed, and they call you, are you going to be able to stand up to them and say, you know, on this thing, I disagree with you, I'm voting?
I've already disagreed. I attend a representative assembly where there are legislative initiatives that are pushed forward, and I voted no on some of those, absolutely.
But might that be different when you're a senator and it matters whether or not it becomes law or not?
I represent not just the 50th Senate District, I represent the families of the 50th Senate District and their children, and therefore we have to make sure that any legislation that goes through is sound and in the best interests of our future.
And Ms. Renna, if you should pull this off, you'll have the support of some law enforcement unions, some real estate concerns. They might call you for a vote. And if you disagree with the particular piece of legislation, will you be able to say no?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not in this for the long haul. I'm in this for the right reasons. I'm in here to make sure that we can get our state back on track and do the right things from a public safety standpoint, from an economic development standpoint for our families of Central New York. So that is my priority here.
All right, well, my priority now is simply to get us to the end of our debate, and it will conclude with 60-second closing statements from each of our two candidates, and we'll begin with John Mannion.
Thank you. So I got into this because I've had a fantastic career that I love and I'm not ready to leave. I, like many, have been frustrated with the political climate, and therefore, even though I love what I do, I'm compelled to make a positive change. I want my children and my grandchildren to grow up here in Central New York like I did and my wife's family did. It's a fantastic place. We love it here. People that move here stay here and build a life. We've got fantastic natural resources here. We need to lean into our strengths in the future, which come with our educational institutions, our healthcare facilities, agriculture, technology, and transportation systems. And therefore, we need someone in the Senate majority to make sure that in this very trying time, we bring back our fair share. And I'm going to do that.
Ms. Renna, you now have 60 seconds for a closing statement to the voters.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So having lived here in Central New York for 25 years, having the privilege of raising my family here, my twin sons who are 23, who have graduated, who are fortunate to have a job here, my goal in running for the state senate is to make sure that we can bring back the opportunities for our kids that were once here so that they can stay here and have good paying jobs, that our families can have a comfortable quality of life here in Central New York, and we can get our state back on track. And I believe with my small business background as a financial planner and wealth manager, as someone who's created jobs here myself, someone who cares about the community and has been engaged with the community from the beginning of being here, that we're going to be able to do that together. And I'm looking forward to reclaiming our voice for Central New York, and I'm looking forward to having the honor to represent you in Albany.
Well, thank you to both of you, and I want to make sure that our voter viewers are grateful as well for candidate Angi Renna. You'll find her name on the Republican, Conservative, and Independence Party lines on the ballot, a ballot which you may already have, and you'll find John Mannion's name on 2 lines, the Democrat and Working Family Party's line. A reminder from me that early voting begins on Saturday, October 24th. News Channel 9 has linked you, and will as soon as you click on our little local election link, to the local voting locations not only in Onondaga County but throughout the 50th State Senate District for early voting locations. There are several of them, and we encourage you to take advantage. If you've already got your absentee, get it in as soon as you can, not only for this race, but for every race around Central New York. Again, the 50th State Senate District, if you haven't already been notified by all of the direct mail coming into your mailbox, it includes much of the north side of the city of Syracuse, many of the suburbs around the city, a little piece of the Cayuga County, including the city of Auburn, and we invite you to take part. We're very grateful that you've joined us for this debate. The most important thing is to tell not only yourself but your family members who are registered and qualified to vote that they get out and vote, and that you tell everybody else in the 50th Senate District to do the same. On behalf of everybody at your local election headquarters here at News Channel 9 and everybody we work with, I want to thank you, and God bless. Have a good week and stay healthy, huh?